Hey folks, Crazy Collaborator here again, and today we're going to look at game number 1 in our 20 from 1990 series. But before we do that, we're going to look at the honorable mentions list, the games that did not quite make our top 20 cut, but are worth checking out. And we are going to start with 1941 Counterattack, created by Capcom, and it's part of the 1942 series of shoot-'em-ups. And it's got improved graphics, wonderful sound and sound effects, new power-ups, big boss battles, very cool entry, and the POW symbol is back. And now we're going to look at Baseball Stars Professional, and this was created by SNK for the Neo Geo. Very competently made game of baseball. The computer has a cannon for an arm in the outfield, but if you play off the plate, you can get some good hits in sometimes. Decently done. Now we're going to look at Blood Brothers, which is a sequel to Cabal, created by the TED Corporation, and you can play two players simultaneous play, one as a cowboy and one as a Native American Indian. And it plays very much the same, except it's set in the Old West. Though there are some strange settings or bosses, like a giant anaconda in a cave. Weird. And then a zeppelin. A little strange. But now we're going to look at Too Crude, which is also known as Crude Buster by Dad East. And I really like this game. It's a cool beat-em-up. You can pick up just about anything in this game and lob it at your opponents. You can pick up your enemies, too. Really, really cool. And these items that you pick up can be massive. Friggin' street light? Are you kidding me? Jeez, these guys are strong. And there's some very funny boss fights. There's a killer Santa Claus. Funny game. And now we're going to look at, well, you drink a soda, an energy soda in between stages. This game cracked me up. I loved it. This had a Sega Genesis port. And now we're going to look at Dragon Saber, and this is the sequel to Dragon Spirit, created by Namco. And it plays very much the same. You are a dragon, and you can get power-ups that give you more heads and more firepower, and you can get extra weapons. Pretty cool. Plays very much the same as the first game. And you can get some very, very nice power-ups. And you can bomb eggs that give you more power-ups. And there's a boss fight. Pretty cool. Now we're going to look at Gal's Panic, and this is sort of a softcore porn version of Kicks, the classic arcade game by Taito. This is created by Kaneko. And you try to reveal, eventually, a picture of a girl, and you see the silhouette of her, and then eventually she'll be, like, topless. We're not going to show that. But the best way to succeed in this game is to try to avoid uncovering the silhouette as much as you can. Just get most of the percentage by doing the outside of that. And there she's not quite topless yet. Kind of stupid game. Had a long series. Now we're going to look at the cool Hat Trick Hero created by Taito, and this is a really good soccer game. I really like this. I'm not a fan of soccer in general, but this is really well done. I like this. You can tell that they're soccer players. there's good sprites and graphics in this. Really, really well done. I was really impressed by this one. I don't remember coming across it in arcades, but it's definitely worth a look. And now we're going to look at Michael Jackson's Moonwalker, created by Sega. This had a popular Sega Genesis port, and as Michael Jackson, you can subdue your enemies with dance moves, or destroy them. Very cool. And it plays some of his songs in the game. And you can rescue children instead of molest them. And now we're going to look at Marvel Land, and this is kind of a cool game by Namco. It's kind of like Super Mario Brothers, but the stages are often amusement park themed. And you can collect these doppelgangers of yourself that you can swing around to hit bad guys or collect items. And you go through a bullseye at the end to get bonus points. And I like this stage where it's a roller coaster. The effects turn you upside down. It looks really, really cool. And there will be a boss fight at the end. And you have to play a skill game with them, like maybe whack-a-mole or tug of rope, to rescue this princess or a fairy. Kind of cool game. And there's a bonus stage where you can see other Namco characters like Mappy there. And now we're going to look at NAM 1975, the first game for the Neo Geo cabinet, created by SNK. And it's like Cabal, but it's alright. A number of gamers liked it back in the day. And of course it takes place in Vietnam. Actually, well after the Vietnam War was over, I believe. But next we're going to look at Parodius Da. And I think it's the first arcade version of Parodius. And Parodius is a spoof of Gradius, which Konami also made. They also made this game. Very funny enemies, very amusing bosses. There's an American eagle, and there's a woman laying in bed as a boss, and there's a Vegas showgirl. Funny game. And now we're going to look at Pigskin, 621 AD by Bally Midway. Funny game of football, ancient football. You can pass, you can run, try to get in their end zone, and the queen gives you the score. And you can punch enemies, knock them over. There's obstacles on the ground that you gotta avoid. Kind of like arch rivals. And now we're going to look at Joy Joy Kid, also known as Puzzled, created by SNK for the Neo Geo. And this has Tetris pieces, actual Tetris pieces that fall down, and you need to try to eliminate lines that are keeping a blimp in place. You need to free the blimp to be the stage. Kind of a cool idea. And the stages, of course, get progressively harder. And next we're going to look at Roller Games by Konami, and this is based on the sport roller games. And it's very cool. You can play as women or men, and you try to beat up more enemies than the other player or the computer before you complete 3 cycles or laps in this arena. Kind of cool game, very fun. And next we're going to look at Shoes by Atari Games, and this is a game of horseshoes, throwing horseshoes. It sounds kind of dull, but it's actually kind of funny. And you participate with another guy, and you try to swing the horseshoe so that it tries to make a ringer around the horseshoe stick, or whatever you call it. And the ringer will give you the most points, or you just try to come closer than your opponent. There's a ringer.
Right. Player 2 scores 1 ringer and 4 points.
Now we're going to look at Rolling Thunder 2, the sequel to Rolling Thunder, created by Namco. And this time you can play with 2 players simultaneous play with the man and or the woman. And the graphics are much improved. It looks really nice. And I like the locations in this. And you can go into doors and get more ammo, just like in the first game. I like the Egypt locations. Pretty cool sequel. And now we're going to look at Space Gun by Taito. And this is a rail shooter, but it takes place in outer space. And there's gory alien carnage when you shoot up the aliens. And there's cannons you need to shoot that pop down from the ceiling as well. There will be humans that have been cocooned that you need to free sometimes and get weapon power-ups. And on the last stage, the final boss, you can accidentally destroy your own space station by blowing up the walls. Don't do that, you'll get a bad ending. Cool game. And And now we're going to look at Steel Gunner, another rail shooter by Namco. And this has pretty nice scrolling graphics. And it, like I said, it's another rail shooter. You'll have boss fights and such. But the scrolling graphics look very, very impressive for 1990. There's a boss, and eventually an enemy will come out of there and fight you. I don't remember this in arcades, but it's pretty cool looking. Next, we're going to look at Versus Dr. Mario, and this is for the Nintendo Versus Arcade cabinet. And this is basically the same as the popular NES game, puzzle game. Just try to eliminate the viruses in the capsule by making 4 colors in a row, including the color of the virus to eliminate them. And next we're going to look at Race Driving, the sequel to Hard Driving by Atari Games. And the scrolling graphics look so much better in this one. But it's very, very similar. You have the regular track and the stunt track. There's some new stunts. There's loop-de-loops again, like in the first game, but this time they are broken. And you need to drive fast enough so that you go over the broken part. And there's a loop-de-loop going on right now. See, there's that gap. And there's also tunnels like this. And you'll need to drive on the side of it so that you avoid a big old truck there. And there's a much higher rise in this game than in the first. Pretty cool. Finish line. Now we're going to look at Super Pang by Mitchell, and I might have been licensed to Capcom in the US, but you can play 2 different modes, Panic Mode and kind of regular mode. And in Panic Mode, one shape comes out one after another and starts antagonizing you while you're working on another. And those flashing parts of those balls, I think, freeze time for a short while. And here's the more regular version. But now we're going to look at Top Player Golf, and this is a pretty good golf game for the Neo Geo, created by SNK.
So careful tee shot is needed on this hole.
I love the advice given by the caddy. Very, very cool. You can also pan around the whole course, if you like, before you actually get started. Very nice. What is it? Neo Turf Masters is much better, but this is still a very good first effort. I have a video of this on my channel if you want to look at that. Oops. Now we're going to look at Thunder Fox, and this is a pretty cool game by Taito. This is very much like Russian Attack or Green Hooray, but you can have jump kicks, you can get different types of weapons, and you can eventually ride certain vehicles. This is a pretty cool game. I never came across this in arcades. It's a flamethrower. Yeah, there's some sort of hovercraft of some sort, or flying vehicle. And here's the jet skis. Pretty cool game. Now we're going to look at Super Burger Time, and this was Japan only, I believe, and this is, of course, a sequel to Burger Time. And you can just jump on the burger ingredients instead of having to walk all the way across them. Some weird enemies. There's like pea pods, and a number of other weird enemies too. And there's boss fights as well. And now we're going to look at game number 1 in our 20 from 1990 series, and this is the awesome Smash TV by Williams, a spiritual sequel to Robotron 2084. It is 2-player. You can play 2 players simultaneous play, and you each have double joysticks. Move with one and shoot with the other. This game appears to be based on the movie, or possibly the novel as well, The Running Man. And I've seen the movie, and I thought it was really stupid. It had Arnold Schwarzenegger and Richard Dawson from Family Feud in it. But Stephen King, I believe, wrote the book, The Running Man. But the basis of this game is that you are a game show contestant, but the game show consists of you trying to stay alive, I mean literally, while bad guys are trying to kill you, and get multiple different weapons in each room. And this game is also sort of a spiritual successor to ROBOTRON 2084, which Williams also created 8 years prior to this. And like ROBOTRON 2084, you get surrounded by enemies in each room. Well, ROBOTRON 2084 had just levels or waves or whatever instead of rooms, but this has rooms, and they are connected, and most of them are connected. But you get surrounded by enemies, and you have to shoot your way out. And you have double joysticks, just like in ROBOTRON 2084, one to move and one to fire with. And getting it emulated properly is quite a chore. The controls anyway. And there's the host there, and he says some very. The game has a great sense of humor. It's incredibly gory. But you start in each arena, and there are 3 arenas. You will start out in the TV studio, and each room will have like a particular title to it. You can get prizes that'll appear in each room, and you'll see a gift box, and it'll show up at the top left what you've won: a brand new VCR, a toaster, a roadster, a vacation luggage, a brand new TV, a year's supply of meat products, a home game, and a mower. The game's very funny, and early on you will see a map showing you the layout of the arena.
Good luck. You'll need it.
He's surrounded by hot babes. But yeah, you really need to get the controllers emulated at least somewhat correctly. Otherwise, you're going to have a really tough time. Now, the enemies do not move very fast early on. Not only can you collect prizes, but there will be money, stacks of money, and gold and silver bars as well. The prizes and money that you collect, if you beat the arena, if you beat the boss at the end of the arena, you will get massive bonuses. Now that guy that's dressed up almost like a nutcracker soldier, he can be a real pain in the butt. Now note that he moves really slow and he doesn't really come after you, but if you ignore him, he will explode on his own and shoot shrapnel all over the arena, or stretching across the arena. Get hit by the shrapnel, touch an enemy, get hit by the enemy or their projectiles, instant death. Now you can get an extra life at some point values, like a 500,000 and maybe 150,000. After that, I'm not sure. But your goal is to get through each room and make it to the boss and destroy the boss, and then you get all your prizes and stuff counted up, and then you go to the next arena. There will sometimes be whoops, damn it. There will sometimes be a guy manning a cannon at the top, and you'll want to take him out when you can. The various weapon power-ups that you can collect, and you'll see them appear somewhere on the somewhere in the room that you're on, will include you can get a smart bomb that'll eliminate all the enemies at once, which is very, very nice. Keep an eye out for that. But the actual weapons that you can fire include bombs, which are very nice. You start out with a regular gun, and there's also a spread cannon, which I've got right now. and that is your normal weapon right there. The cash and the gold and silver bars tend to stick around a long time. The prizes do not, nor do the power-ups. So get them when you can. There are also missiles you can fire, and those are very, very nice. There is an option that you can pick up, and it will fire when you fire. And there is some sort of special bomb. No, it's called a buffalo gun, I think. And you can get that during the fight with the boss. Whenever you touch that smart bomb, you'll hear a voice say, "Bingo!" Pretty cool. You can also get a barrier. Or maybe it's a shield, and it'll be little rings that'll appear around you. And you can take damage for a short while. Now note that enemies can come from all four sides.
Big money! Big prizes! I love it! I love it!
I don't know why I said that twice so well. But yeah, there will be some rooms where you can collect a whole bunch of gift boxes. The sound might have gone wonky at this point. I don't know why that happened. I think I used a save state here, but at any rate, don't try not to get cornered. Try not to get pinned. The enemies will overtake you. Utilize those smart bombs whenever you can. They can really save you from a big old jam. Something I did not mention is there are landmines or something similar on the floor of most every room. If you step on them, instant death, and you get blown to chunky bits. Do not walk on them. And whoops, if you have a whole bunch of gift boxes or gold bars or silver bars or cash, they can cover that mine, and you won't be able to see it until you've tried to pick up the cash or whatever and get blown up. That really sucks. So try to remember where those landmines are. Crap. You can spend a continue to pick up right where you left off, and you will have a shield for a little while, and you can mow through some enemies to take them out with your shield while you have it. And after you clear a room, you'll see an arrow point which direction you need to exit. Learn what the icons give you, because each icon will have a maybe sort of identifiable picture on it, and then you'll need to know what that does for you. There will sometimes be one-ups. Keep an eye out for them. And there's one right there. Got it! Ooh, that was really close. You'll have a lot of very close scrapes in this game. Whoops. And you will need to have very good controls. I initially did ESDF and IJKL on my keyboard, and that's not nearly good enough. So I had to go out and buy a new controller, and I used the one analog stick and 4 buttons for my controllers, and that actually kind of worked well. A lot of people might use double analog joysticks. I kind of preferred my setup a little bit better. Sometimes there will be a long lag. Here is our first boss, Mutoid Man.
I'd buy that for $1.
He stole that from RoboCop. Sometimes there'll be other enemies coming out of the walls first, or side doors, before you have to face Mutoid Man. And he takes forever to bring down, but he's easier than other bosses. You pick up your score where you left off too, which is nice. And like I said before, you can get these homing missile type of shots and use them against the boss. He fires lasers out of his eyes, and he starts losing limbs or turning into gooey chunks or whatever. It's such a disgusting game. Whoops, I got zapped. Yeah, now we're starting to put the hurt on him. Sounds like they took that growl from Sinistar. They may have. But this game was another one from a number of the famed designers of Williams and Midway, like Eugene Jarvis, Larry DeMar, was it George Petro? There was a billion other ones that were super, super famous for a lot of Williams or Midway games in the late 80s, early 90s. And they were responsible for this one. Touch a boss and you die. Whoops, damn it! There was some exploding shrapnel from that Nutcracker soldier, or whatever the hell you want to call him. Yeah, you can kill them and they'll make a smaller explosion that won't hurt you, I don't think. But don't let them blow up on their own volition. It's such a gross game. Just have to keep blowing up their body parts. And there's that homing... Maybe not homing missile, but... Well, I killed him. Look at all that blood. How gross. I hope you had a good weekend, and I hope you enjoy the upcoming Super Bowl next week. I'm going to have my folks over, and I'm going to make chicken enchiladas with some sort of cream sauce. It's probably going to be really good. And now that I've beaten him, I get to go out the side door, and I get all the prizes that I picked up added up. There's a toaster bonus, an automobile bonus, and a super VCR bonus. What's a VCR, you might ask? Now that we're living in the DVD or Blu-ray age. And then you get all the cash added up. Look at the score, jeez. If you decide not to continue, you get to put in your initials and it's game over. That's it. But if you keep on continuing, you get to carry over your score and pick up right where you left off. And now we're in Arena 2. I remember first seeing this at, I think, Malibu Grand Prix in my neighborhood. And now we have a room called Orbs. And now we get to see the orbs, and they can zap you and kill you. At some point, I think now I put on invincibility. And that gives you an automatic shield all the time. And it prevents you from getting killed. So I put on the cheat now. Again, anytime, we're not going to do a full playthrough the rest of the way. We get to see the map again. We're going to just do snippets of the rest of the game. Just because it will take too long, but some kind of interesting names for each of the rooms that you are in. But yeah, as soon as you can get power-ups, get them. There is also a speed-up that you can collect. And that'll make you faster. Try to get that too, because I love it. Yeah, get the speed because those prizes do not last very long, or those power-ups. And again, there's an option that you can pick up, and there will be this rotating orb around you that will shoot when you shoot, so you'll have double firepower. There's various different enemies that you'll see, and some of them you can cut right through them with your missiles. Missiles are very good, a very good weapon to have. Sometimes I'm not sure what the messages that you see in the rooms mean. Firepower is needed. Well, duh. That's what I'm trying to collect or use to keep the enemies off of me. Now, it's probably a good idea to, unless you know exactly where the enemies are going to come out, to avoid hanging around near a doorway or one of the four edges, because enemies might just pop up out of the door and attack you immediately and you're dead. I like some of the descriptions sometimes of the prizes. Magnificent 2600-inch TV, is that what it said? A luxurious vacation. But yeah, there are three types of big prizes. I love it. And I love it was also a saying in RoboCop. You get a whole bunch of prizes here that appear. Even after you see prizes appearing, like at the beginning of a stage, there's likely going to be a whole bunch of enemies coming around too. Sometimes it seems like the enemies have stopped coming, but then the doors don't open, and you have to wait a while before some more enemies appear. Slaughter them. Now, the version of Smash TV that I am playing is called 8.00, I believe. And if you play that version, then you are going to have a chance at a bonus room called the Pleasure Dome. And there is where you can get a lot of bonus points. And I think you might not have to face any enemies in that room. We'll look at that later. But I think that is only available in Smash TV version 8.00. Maybe there's later revisions where that will work as well. But in other ones, you cannot play that. And now we are facing the second arena boss, and this is Scarface. He's more mobile than Mutoid Man was, I believe. Ugly sucker. And you'll see physical damage on his face. His eyes will get blown up, and there will eventually be just a skull. Yeah, that's definitely Sinistar's voice sample, or at least part of it. The roaring. This game, I remember when I first saw it, I was just like, what a disgusting game. But it cracked me up. And of course, the team behind this game would go on to create another disgusting franchise, Mortal Kombat. But yeah, after you complete each boss fight, then now he's a skull, and this takes forever killing him. But once you beat each boss, then you get to collect all the bonuses from all the gifts and from all the prizes and cash that you've collected. Television bonus. Well, that is a lot of points. This is 2-player simultaneous play as well. Have a buddy join in, and both of you stick around the center of the screen, and it'll make the game a lot easier with 2 players taking out all the enemies that come from the edges and come to the center towards you. Man, look at that score. Goodness. All that cash bonus. Boy, would I love to have some of that cash right now. I would love to pay off my house. I've still got quite a ways to go, but having a renter give me a rent check every month it really helps. And now we are in arena number 3. And this first room is called No Dice. I will show you a map of the stages in case you were wondering what each room was called. I can't remember which way they connect, but you can at least see the names of all the rooms. I will let the cat out of the bag. The final boss in this game is the host, the MC. He turns into a giant boss, and we'll see that later on. And here's that map again. There will be, I think it was like a B or something, or something, or maybe it was an S for special, but that is where you can get prizes. You know, a whole bunch of prizes appearing, and you can collect them before you have to face any enemies.
Bingo!
There will be some statues that spit snakes at you. Those statues cannot be destroyed. And now this room says turtle chunks needed.
Big money! Big prizes! I love it!
And in this room you can collect keys. I guess you will need keys to enter the outer pleasure dome area, which is later on this stage. That is where you can get a whole bunch of points. And you are supposedly supposed to have 10 keys. And we collected a bajillion in this room. But there will be a room close to the outer pleasure dome area that says you almost have enough keys. No, I collected a lot more than that. I don't know what the hell they're talking about. And then the next room will say you have collected enough keys, or you have enough keys. Kind of weird. Some things about this game might seem kind of almost unfinished, or that they didn't smooth things out or something. But it's still a hell of a lot of fun. Very, very tough. Like I said, your controls need to be just perfect. But it's so tough. There's so many enemies, and I'll admit it does kind of get monotonous, the gameplay. But it's best to have a buddy with you, a second player playing at the same time, and just collect all the weapons that you can. There is a spinning barrier there that you can collect. Nothing that you collect will last forever, and in fact, I didn't mention this, but you'll see a life meter for whatever weapon you have or power-up that you have, and it is underneath your score. And it's not going down because I put on a cheat, invincibility or infinite weapon cheat, I think it was. Otherwise, it would go down, and once it's out, then you have to get another weapon or another power-up. This game was super popular. Everybody was playing this, and I saw this everywhere. It's a great game. Now, you might have noticed in some of the rooms they say something about total carnage. that is the sequel to Smash TV. And it came out 2 years after this. It was not nearly as popular as Smash TV. Yeah, get that speed up icon if you can, because you might be too slow to collect the gift boxes that appear. And again, remember, if you're collecting a whole bunch of piles of cash or gold or silver bricks, try to remember where those landmines were, because you might walk on it trying to pick up those
Total carnage! I love it!
those bonus items. And there he said Total Carnage, and again, that is the sequel to Smash TV. There was also a Super Smash TV for, I think it was Super Nintendo. There were a whole bunch of different home ports. There's one for the NES. Can't remember if there was one for the Genesis. There were a number of ports. And this boss is a cobra, a two-headed cobra. And once you defeat him, then you will go to the room that says you almost have enough keys. And then you have to fight another bunch of enemies. And then once you complete that room, then it says you have enough keys. Which is weird, because you collected 1 million in that earlier room. And then when you get to the you have enough keys room, you can go south one room to the outer pleasure dome area and collect a whole bunch of bonus. They're like statues of women or something. We'll look at that later. And of course, they're scantily clad. Here it says you almost have enough keys. And even if you don't collect any keys in this room, and sometimes keys will just appear like power-ups, weapons, gift boxes, whatever. Sometimes there will be a key. Even if you don't collect a key, you'll go to the next room and it'll say, oh, you have enough keys, which is really stupid, but whatever. Happy upcoming Valentine's Day. Don't know what your usual thing is, if you do the traditional box of chocolates for your sweetheart or whatever. I personally like to watch a little bit of the movie My Bloody Valentine, which I grew up watching on cable. You have enough keys. Why, thank you. And there's another key right there. But it's hard to have enough time if you don't have your speed up icon trying to go over to collect a gift box way off in the corner. Your supply of meat products. Hey, and we go down, and there is the outer pleasure dome area. All these scantily clad women start appearing. Yay! You don't get a bonus for them when you beat this arena, like you do with all the prizes and cash that you collected. They just keep appearing one wave after another. Yeah, the programmers that worked for Williams would mostly go on to work for Midway shortly after the release of this game. So if you're wondering why a lot of the Williams games of the late 80s, early 90s looked a lot like the Midway games of the early 90s to mid 90s or maybe after, that's why. Your life meter or your life counter will not go higher than 9. That is the maximum, if you were wondering. And again, there are certain point values where you can get extra lives. And we go back up, but since we were already there, now we're gonna face the evil MC. Totally dead. No eyeballs. Fangless. Disgusting. I have the correct amount of keys, so I'm going to face the MC, and it says, eat my eyeballs. Disgusting. This game is so gross. Some of the bosses will have these weird little ping pong balls bouncing around. You don't need to destroy them. They will explode on their own after a short amount of time. And we're going to play some multiplayer action. We're going to have a second player. I mapped the controls the same as player 1 with player 2. Now with the cheat, he's even saying these phrases as you're blowing him to bits. With this cheat that I had on in MAME, that might have made the graphics go funky from this point on. He loves being destroyed. I love it. Yeah, we'll see an arm sprite stuck to one of the players. Weird. Good luck. And his heads fly off. And there's a head stuck to one of the players. Yeah, the graphics get considerably weirder. I apologize for that. Come on, just die already. And again, yeah, the lifespan of these weapon power-ups would have run out by now normally, but I had infinite life for your weapon or whatever cheat on. So much blood in this game. And we are going to see the ending of Smash TV. But not before we get a whole bunch of prizes. A ton of them. I might have sped up. Yeah, I cut forward to me getting the last handfuls of prizes, so we could just see the end. This was my 20 from 1990 series. I hope you enjoyed. This is game number 1, Smash TV by Williams. And someday in the future, we'll look at my 20 from 1991 series. See, the graphics got funky. Game bonus. And there's half of them there. We don't even see the second player. Bonus. Bandicam sometimes gets a little messed up there. Good bonus. I was thinking all bonuses were good. Kaz bonus. Good gravy, look at that score. My goodness. Yeah, the graphics are kind of messed up at this point. You know what they look like, though. We saw it normal earlier. Boy, would I love that kind of money. I would happily retire. Pay off my house. Still take a little bit of rent for a while. Kong Atu Tool Tios. Sorry. Congratulations. couldn't read it entirely, but you could probably figure it out if you use your imagination. Thank you for playing Smash TV. Good luck. You'll need it. You are the next lucky contestant. And the graphics are messed up on her too. Yeah, these were Williams / Midway mainstays. Mark Termel, John Tobias, Tim Kamen, Eugene Jarvis, John Hay, Todd Allen, George Petro, Larry DeMar, Jack Hager, Kerry Mednick, Glenn Ship, Al Lasco, Sheridan Orsler, Greg A, Mark Lafredo, all guys that had done a lot of work on Williams and later Midway games. She really does look messed up there. Coming soon, even more carnage, and that will be the sequel, Total Carnage. Maybe someday when I re-upload my, I think, 1992 series, we'll have a look at that one. And now I put in my initials. But that is Smash TV. Created by Williams in 1990. Game number 1 in our 20 from 1990 series. I thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed my time capsules. I enjoy making them. I think they're kind of fun. It's good to kind of educate you on, if you weren't born in the 90s or before, then kind of cool to educate you on what things were like right around then. It's a very watered down time capsule, but still kind of informative. And here's what it's like if you decide not to continue. Yeah, you blow up into chunky bits when you run over a landmine. It's like your head comes off and your eyeball pops out. It's such a gross game. And here is the map to Arena 1. And those are the names of the rooms that you will see as you go through. And go to the top right to collect all those extra bonus prizes to start off the room. And there's Mutoid Man at the far right, the boss. And there is Arena number 2. And at the far right will be the boss known as Scarface. And yeah, some of the rooms, I don't know what the hell they're talking about by the name of them. Buffalo herd nearby. Chunks galore. And in this room, Arena 3, at the far right where it says Cobra Death, you keep going to the right. We will see that on the next map. And at the Turtle Chunks Needed, I think that's where you get all those keys. And then there's these rooms. You almost have enough keys. You have enough keys, and when you go south from there, you go to the outer Pleasure Dome area. But only in version 8.00 or higher, I think. And then Eat My Eyeballs, where you face the evil MC. Well, that was Smash TV. Game number 1 in our 20 from 1990 series. Well, thank you for watching. A couple more little tidbits from 1990. One of them was the sad death of NCAA superstar Hank Gathers of Loyola Marymount, who died of heart problems during March Madness. And also, the very first NC-17 movie was released, Henry and June. Well, I thank you very much for watching my 1990 series, and I'll see you soon for my 20 from 1991 series. Y'all take it easy, everybody, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye, folks.